Good morning. Today is October the 7th, and this is Taitz report. First of all, how can you resolve the impasse that we are seeing now? Well, one good news is that Republicans are standing strong, and they are including current impasse with continuing resolution and shutting down the government with the issue of the request by Barack Obama to increase his borrowing. Let him borrow some more money, which is that's what the increasing of the debt ceiling is. Well, first of all, in regards to shutdown of the government, it appears that both sides are not willing to make this step and meet somewhere in the middle. And my idea is, well, why don't you go to a judge? What do you do in private business when there are two parties who cannot come to an agreement? They make a decision to go to a judge and let the judge mediate. And what we have in terms of the Obamacare is a situation that Barack Obama has given subsidies to the US Congress, where we, the taxpayers, will be paying 75% of their costs, which can be as much as $10,000 a year per member of Congress. And also, Barack Obama has given a 1 year delay extension to the corporations. As you know, per Obamacare, corporations are supposed to pay, corporations of 50 employees or more are supposed to pay for the health care of their full-time employees. Obama gave them 1 year delay. So what Republicans are saying that if such a delay is given to the corporations, the same delay should be given to the people, to we the people, to American taxpayers. And also, the whole idea of Congress being part of Obamacare, and Senator Grassley insisted on it, is so that the US senators and congressmen would know exactly what the problems in this program are. If their healthcare is being subsidized by us, the taxpayers, they don't feel the pain, they don't know what's going on. So it is really important that this issue is resolved. And because Republicans who have the House of Representatives, for the majority in the House of Representatives, and the Democrats who have the majority in the US Senate cannot come to the agreement, in my opinion, the best way to resolve this situation and each party to save face is to decide, for now, to fund all the other departments of the US government and let the judge decide the issue of Obamacare. The funding for Obamacare will be delayed, will be stayed until the federal court makes a decision. A, was it constitutional for Barack Obama to unilaterally make changes to such law, giving delays to corporations, and further giving the Congress special subsidies, and whether the House of Representatives could stay funding of Obamacare pending the start of the program for the corporations. I think that would be the best decision. Fund the rest of the government, reopen the government, stay this one program until the federal court decides on those changes that were made by Barack Obama unilaterally. Because the Supreme Court did not rule on those changes. Supreme Court has ruled on other issues before Barack Obama made those changes. So it is time for the judge to decide and resolve this conflict. Next, as we know, just recently, uh, Jack Lew, Secretary of U.S. Treasury, appeared on all of the main networks, scaring American citizens and telling them that the sky is falling down, that if Barack Obama is not going to get additional money, a permission from the US Congress to borrow more money, and that's what increasing the debt ceiling is, the US government is going to collapse. Well, let's think for a moment. Each and every department of the US government has an emergency plan, an emergency contingency. For example, you might recall Michael Chertoff, the director of of FEMA, appearing FEMA and later, which became part of the Department of Homeland Security, appearing before the U.S. Congress and testifying of what emergency plans and measures were made in case of a natural disaster, such as Hurricane Katrina or Hurricane Sandy. CDC, Center for Disease Control, has such emergency provisions, and so does the U.S. military. And therefore, the Department of Treasury should have such emergency provisions. And I'm asking each and every one of my supporters to call the U.S. Congress, call the chair of the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Darrell Issa, and each and every member of this committee, among them Congressman Jason Chaffetz, Congressman Trey Gowdy, Congressman Jim Jordan, and ask them to start an immediate hearing and subpoena the Secretary of Treasury, Jack Lew, to testify and provide the U.S. Congress with information. What will he do come October 17th, in 11 days, as an emergency measure? Because he knew that there is no guarantee that U.S. Congress will give him, will increase the debt ceiling and will give him this permission to keep borrowing. After all, Barack Obama has already increased our national debt by 70%. He incurred as much debt as 42 first presidents in about 230 years of the US history. And by the end of his term, he will incur as much debt as all 43 US presidents before him. So it is reasonable to believe that the US Congress might not allow him to borrow anymore. And therefore, there has to be an emergency contingency plan. And Jack Lew has to provide information to the US Congress, to the Oversight Committee. What will he do come October the 17th? First of all, according to the 14th Amendment, he has to pay the debt and interest on the debt, and it has to have a priority. Further on, he is not allowed to touch the Social Security. So, the first payment on a daily basis has to be paying the debt, paying Social Security. Next, the US Congress has already authorized payments to the US military, even during the shutdown of the government. So the next payment will be going to the US military. Further, he has to prioritize the money that he is getting in revenues, in taxes that we are paying. How will he divide the remaining funds? How will he prioritize so that he does not overspend, he and Barack Obama? Let's look at it as a corporation. Barack Obama is a CEO, Chief Executive Officer of the corporation. Jack Lew is our CFO, Chief Financial Officer. We, all of the US taxpayers who are paying taxes, are shareholders of this corporation, and the US Congress is our board of directors. Therefore, we would expect the CEO and the CFO appear immediately before the board of directors. They have to stop scaring the financial markets. They have to stop scaring grandma and grandpa who live on Social Security, because their payments are assured, and they have to provide an explanation to the US Congress, to our board of directors, how will they prioritize the remaining money that they are getting in taxes. Also, employees of the federal government have to know, will there be cuts in case the Congress is not willing to allow Barack Obama to continue with totally immoral and unconscionable borrowing and spending? How will he prioritize? Will their jobs be eliminated? Will their salaries be cut? They have to know that. And Barack Obama and Jack Lew have to appear before Congress and, under penalty of perjury, provide the US Congress with information. What is their contingency plan? What will they do come October 17th? Which departments will be cut? What positions will be cut? Where they will be cutting the salaries? What will they do in order to live within their means? Live on the monies that they're getting in revenues, getting from us, the taxpayers. And that brings me to the last issue that I wanted to talk about, and that's somehow $650 billion have disappeared, and I will explain why. We've been getting about $2.2 trillion in tax revenues. However, Barack Obama has demanded higher taxes. What was done, he allowed Bush temporary tax credits to expire. Therefore, as the credits expired, the taxes just went up. So we got additional $280 billion from additional payroll taxes. Moreover, we also got additional revenues from higher income taxes. So, come January, Barack Obama has received additional $650 billion. Therefore, you take 2.2 trillion plus another 650 billion is 2.85 trillion dollars that he is getting. Now, Barack Obama has been, as I stated, has been running a totally unconscionable debt. Every year, he was incurring $1.2 trillion worth of debt. In 2011, US Congress has told him enough is enough and agreed to increase the tax ceiling only based on the promise that Barack Obama will cut his spending by $2 trillion in the period of 10 years. If you divide it by 10, so it's about $200 billion per year cut. If that would have been the case, you just take down from 1.2 trillion in 2011, we're going down to 1 trillion debt in 2012 to 800 billion dollars debt in 2013. So if we were to look at the cuts that Barack Obama agreed to make, sequestration cuts back in 2011, we should have had only $800 billion debt. Now, he suddenly got a windfall at $650 billion of new taxes to cover this remaining $800 billion worth of debt. So the total debt for this year should have been only $150 billion. Well, based on what I'm seeing, he is running debt about 8 times this amount. And US Congress and American people would like to know why and should be asking those questions. What happened? As Barack Obama in January got additional $650 billion, what did he do? Next month, the next very month, he ran yelling and screaming, ran to the US Congress asking to increase the debt ceiling, let him borrow more money. He wanted a temporary lift of debt ceiling for 3 months. Yet again, US Congress went towards him and gave him additional 3 months. During those 3 months, he managed to incur an unconscionable $300 billion of an additional debt. Let's remember, he should have had only $150 billion the whole year. Now he's incurring $300 billion in just 3 months. Then, from May 17th, he kept the debt exactly the same level, not changing by a cent. But what was he doing? He was taking money from the retirement and disability fund of federal employees. And what I've been seeing is that he's been taking about $100 billion every month. In the month of August, he took $142 billion, if I'm not mistaken. So until October 17th, that will be an additional $500 billion. So we're seeing that this man is running the same $1.2 trillion debt as he was running before. times more than George Bush ever ran. If George Bush were to have the same tax increase as Barack Obama is getting today, not only he would have had any debt, he would have had a surplus of $200 billion every year. And he would have been paying off the debt that was incurred by Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton incurred $1.5 trillion worth of debt. So what is going on? And it is time that the US Congress call Jack Lew and Barack Obama to the mat and start asking those pointed questions. How in the world do you manage to run $1.2 trillion when you suddenly got a windfall of $650 billion additional taxes? All of the senators were praising Barack Obama. My Senator Barbara Boxer was saying he's the savior. He cut our debt to just $600 billion. This is the stupidest thing one can imagine. I mean, really, a US Senator cannot do simple math? His programs didn't succeed. He's not a savior. He didn't do anything. He got from us additional money. So the CBO said, because he got from us additional money, his debt should be only about $600 billion. It is not happening. Where did this money go? Where did this $650 billion go? Was it stolen? Was it embezzled? Did it go to some offshore bank accounts? We demand answers. Please, I'm asking everybody to call today Daryl Issa, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, and demand an emergency hearing to call the Secretary of Treasury, to call Barack Obama and demand a emergency plan. What will they do come October 17th if they are not allowed to borrow anymore? And provide us with an explanation. Further, I'm asking everybody to call Bob Goodlatte, who is the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, and start investigation. What is the basis for Jack Lew to take money from the accounts of federal employees? Does he have any legal basis to do so? And how much? If he's doing it now, how do we know he and his predecessor, Tim Geithner, were not doing this for 5 years? God knows how much money they took from the account of federal employees. We have a right to know that. So please call Daryl Issa. Please call Bob Goodlatte. And for more information, you can go on my website, orlytaitz.com. ORLY, T as in Tom, AI, T as in Tom, Z, ESQ, Esquire.com. Further, if there is this hearing, I would highly recommend, and you may want to ask those congressmen on the Oversight Committee to ask even more questions. Not only where the money went, but who is signing on this money? Specifically, in light of the fact that Barack Obama has posted his tax returns online and originally didn't flatten the PDF file, and we could see that he is using a Connecticut Social Security number 042684425, and this number failed E-Verify and SSNBS. I have written to Jack Lew, the Secretary of Treasury, and I wrote a complaint, and further I wrote a FOIA, or Freedom of Information Act, request for information and explanation. How can a person with a failed Social Security number file tax returns, and particularly not just any person, a person sitting in the position of the US President? I've been getting responses from the Department of Treasury. They were telling me we're looking for information, we keep looking for information, and so far no information was provided. So when you call Daryl Issa and Bob Goodlatte, please tell them that not only they should get answers in regards to this shutdown, in regards to the debt and spending, but also they should get information. What happened to the Freedom of Information Act request by Attorney Orly Taitz in regards to Barack Obama's use of a Connecticut Social Security number, which we actually traced to somebody by name Harry Bunnell, and a number that was never sent to him. What did Jack Lew do with this information? And what is the explanation that Barack Obama can give us? Please make this video go viral. And don't pay attention to the fact that YouTube is writing their view counter might be low. They have been blocking those view counters to show that the videos that are made by the dissidents, by the opposition to regime of Barack Obama, are not very popular. This is not true. They often run music on top of those videos. They often block the counter, so just don't pay attention to that. Please just keep burning those lines. Please keep calling Daryl Issa and Bob Goodlatte and demand immediate hearings. Thank you.